Hi, and welcome back to Bit by Bit for another coffee break. And today we are talking about game order. So whether or not you need to play a series in order, if there's multiple games, when you can jump into a series, and kind of how we go about figuring that out. So to start off with, I just started playing Fallout 3. I've barely played any of it. I just barely got out of the vault, and that's it. But I know a couple of people that have played Fallout because literally everyone except for myself has played Fallout.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, what do I do with this? Where do I have to start from Fallout 1? And literally everyone told me no. I didn't really ask a lot of details on why. They were just like, you don't need it, and they're not as good until later in the series anyway. So just start with Fallout 3, and then you can do 4. So that's what I did. I just waited for my brother's girlfriend to get Fallout 4 so I could get the download code for 3. And I just jumped in, and I didn't really ask anything about it. And I'm like, cool, less games I have to play, so I'll just start at 3. And that's kind of how I've gone with that. As far as other series, a lot of times I do play them from beginning to end, just because a lot of times I'll start with the series, so then you automatically are already going in. But I think there are actually a good amount of series that you don't need all the games to play. The first coming to mind, because my biggest gaming knowledge comes from that PS2 GameCube era. It's I played a bunch then, and then I just fell off the face of the earth. But the Jak and Daxter series, you don't really need a whole lot. I think the same thing for Ratchet and Clank. I think a lot of times too, what ends up happening sometimes when I'm playing something and I'm kind of just jumping into it. Well, this happens to me with movies too. If someone tells me I don't need to play or watch something in order to enjoy what's coming up, but I'll need story information, they're like, all you need to know is this, and then they just throw me into whatever game or movie it is. And I feel that would be true of the Jak series and a couple other series where if the game quality is not super high, people will just give you the information you need, and then you can just jump in and kind of get to the good stuff without having to play through everything.
That's fair.
Yeah, but how does that work for you? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I don't know. I feel pretty similarly to some extent. I mean, at least as far as Fallout's concerned. I also started with Fallout 3. That's the first one I ever played, and it was back when it actually first came out. But I think it's mostly because unless you were a super nerd, you probably didn't really know that Fallout existed. I think it's also slightly before our actual generation. I think we were probably a little too young when Fallout 1 and 2 came out.
What did it come out on?
I think it was a computer game. I'm not positive.
Really?
No one quote me on that. I don't know. Because I know that maybe they have on the Xbox. I do think there was a huge turning point though for Fallout when they came up with the third one. It was a change in how the industry, that developer was doing the game. And so Fallout 2 probably looks like a world different from Fallout 3, not just in graphics, but also in gameplay and style and that kind of stuff. So I think of Fallout, 3 through the current Fallout as being its own separate series. So for me, Fallout 3 is the beginning of the series. Now, some people disagree with me for that, and I can't super back it up because I never played the first two, but I don't know. There's so many people that agree with me that I feel all right about it. And for once, I love being agreed with. And then I'd say a pretty similar thing for, it's Bethesda games maybe, I don't know in general, because, the Elder Scrolls games are also from Bethesda, like Fallout is. And the first one I played was the third game. It was Elder Scrolls Morrowind, and we got it for $15 at Blockbuster. They were selling it used, and my brother was like, this looks cool, and we'd never heard of Elder Scrolls, so we got it, and changed my life forever. And that was great, but I think the first two games also were more computer games, and they were not as good and sort of different. So I don't know if Bethesda got to a point where they're we're just going to change things up for the third games, and then they did. But everyone seems to sort of agree that the third one's the place to start. So I think that's fine. I also don't think you need to play, you don't need to play Fallout 3 to enjoy Fallout 4. You don't need to play Fallout New Vegas to Fallout 4 is what I would say. But there's still interesting connections, but they're not necessary. I think when you start to want to play something in order is when you have more than just quirky connections in a game. That's sort of oh, it's clever because I mentioned that in the last game. That's whatever, who cares, But I'd say if I'm thinking about BioWare games in general, I just started replaying through the Dragon Age series. The first Dragon Age game I actually played was Dragon Age Inquisition, which is the third game in the series, and that's a theme here. I loved it just by itself, and I played it twice by itself, and then I just recently went back to play Dragon Age Origins and Dragon Age 2, and I super wish I played both of them before I ever played Dragon Age Inquisition, which is kind of strange because I loved it by itself. But with the amount of information that you get from those first two like narratives and playthroughs is crazy. The sort of setup you get for Inquisition, and like Dragon Age 2 literally happens like maybe a couple months before Dragon Age Inquisition, and like the whole story of Dragon Age 2 is like literally setting up for Inquisition. Like it's all of it is setting up for Inquisition, and I can't believe I missed all of it the first time I played Inquisition, so it's a little sad for me. I also think I like the second one better than Inquisition, like a little bit. So I would say, when it comes to BioWare, play them in order, because even though they don't seem connected, they are connected. And otherwise, like, do whatever you want.
Wait, so should I not play Dragon Age Inquisition because it's on my shelf and I could play it? Should I like get the second one and then play
I would
Inquisition?
say if you are going to skip one, skip the first one for Dragon Age. Because Dragon Age Origins is like, if you're going to play Dragon Age Origins, this is my advice. Play it through on easy mode and just run through the game. Like, don't stop for anything. Like, don't try to do
But then what's the
anything.
point of playing it?
There's some important decisions that might affect Inquisition. I'm not really sure how it's going to play out yet, because so how it works with a lot of BioWare games. I know you're not super familiar with like the gameplay for BioWare, but a lot of times, so I'll use like an easier example. Like in Mass Effect, you have 3 games and you're the same character all 3 games, and so the decisions you make in the first game can affect the outcome of the third game. So 2 games later, you're like, "Fuck, I shouldn't have kicked that guy in the shin." You know, it's like not really that petty, but sometimes it practically is. But for Inquisition, you're a different character every time, but the narratives are all interweaved. And interwoven, I guess, is maybe the correct word. And so in the first game, if you make certain decisions, it might affect Inquisition differently.
Okay.
But there is a default state for Inquisition if you play it without having the backlog, because you can load in past saves from your old games onto Inquisition.
Okay, I had no idea that was a thing. So like my mind's completely, because I don't know anything about like any. There's so many genres I don't really play, like RPG style or sandbox games or anything like that. So I haven't touched any of the BioWare games at all. So I'm like, I didn't even know.
It's my favorite.
Like, I did not even know that was technologically possible. Like you're still the same person. I'm like, I don't understand. I don't.
Yeah, and
that's crazy.
That's why I love Mass Effect. What did you just skip all my blog posts last semester?
I skip my own blog posts.
No, it's I actually didn't even really talk about that much when I did that. I did a project. I'm not gonna talk about it here. But yeah, in Mass Effect, you're the same person all 3 games, and so like for Mass Effect, please play them in order. Don't go to the third one, because then nothing's gonna like mean anything to you. Like in the third one, you're meeting up with like old people like that used to be on your team, but you haven't seen them in years, whatever, and you maybe saved them from something. Now you want them back on your team, where there's like this emotional rift or like tension. If you don't know who anyone is, you're like, whatever, this is like cool looking alien chick.
See, like, and this is like getting a smidge off topic, but do you ever feel like, especially because I come from like the platforming background, and that's typically not super story rich.
Right.
Like, I think we're getting a little more diverse with like what it means to be a platformer, other than just like Mario and Mario clones, like back in the 90s when everyone wanted to, like, there was like that trend of like mascot platformers, and they're was it Bubsy and all those random games that were like supposed to be like the next big thing, but usually kind of weren't. But like, do you ever like play a game from a genre you're not familiar with, and you're like, wow, this is like, so groundbreaking, but you're like, is it groundbreaking, or is it like, am I just not aware? Am I just really ignorant of what the landscape is? So I feel I feel like that. Yeah, it's really weird too to play games that are outside of that, because I'm like, I'm not sure how, like you just don't have any schema for what's happening at all. So yeah, which is why it's good to branch out. But it can definitely be hard to like do that when you're not sure like where to start, especially if the series is super long.
Yeah.
What's like the longest series you can think of?
Final Fantasy.
Yeah. Oh yeah. What do you do for that?
What do you mean? What do you do?
Should I?
Where do you start?
I've actually never played Final Fantasy games, so
I'm not
if I wanted to play
the
Final
best person to
Fantasy.
ask. I mean, I like Final Fantasy, but there's some people who are obsessed with Final Fantasy. Some people whose life is Final Fantasy. That's not me. I enjoy Final Fantasy, and I enjoyed it a lot more when I was younger. I just haven't gotten back into it so much. I just think partly because the new games are not as good. But I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm being a little like weird about it because I haven't really played that much of them. But the last one I actually played was 13, Final Fantasy 13, and I didn't like it that much. I haven't finished it yet. So I played Final Fantasy 12. 13, X, and X2, and I didn't beat any of them.
Oh yeah.
So it's a little. I don't want to sound like a hypocrite when I'm like, oh, you need to like do this or you need to try this. It's like I didn't actually finish any of them. The reason I didn't finish Final Fantasy X, that's the one I logged the most time on in my whole life, is because it was too hard and I was like 10 years old. So I was like, I can't do this.
Do you still have the save file?
No, I have to start over.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm gonna beat it one day. My brother never beat it either. It haunts us still. We still talk about it. He's like, I think I'm just gonna get the PS2 from Mom's house and finally beat Final Fantasy X. And I'm like, dude, you have to go to work and you've got like a 1-year-old, you know. Like,
it's probably not even nearly as hard as you thought it was. Because everything was hard when you were a child.
I replayed stuff down. I'm like, this is
because you didn't know how to use your hands. And you like started playing a game.
Awkward, yeah.
I was just talking about this morning how I thought Yoshi's Island was really hard. Then I played it again as an adult, like or like a version of it, like maybe it was like a port or something, and I was like, this is extremely simple because he doesn't die ever. I'm like, why was it messing up so much?
Right.
You just get the baby back if you get hit. Why are you getting hit so often? The villain does the same like 8 moves.
Yeah, no, I think games are much harder for kids, and that's why I want to like renew my childhood gaming obsessions and just destroy them because it's like so much stress for my child could be relieved that way. But I don't think Final Fantasy you need to play in order. Those are all also separate.
Yeah, I would hope so because it's so long that like it wouldn't.
You can't even like get some of the old games anymore. Like, unless you buy some crazy shit or like.
I think that can kind of be like I guess like with this discussion of like game series and when you should play them and when you should play them in order and stuff. I think the numbering of like I don't know anything about Final Fantasies. This is probably gonna like really annoy a lot of people that like were so ignorant of Final Fantasy. But like it's just like the numbering of it is really polarizing to anyone who isn't part of the series. So I'm like 15, so do I have to have played all of these games to know what's going on? And it's a super story-rich game from like the people that I talk to. So I'm like, what is happening? I have no idea what's happening.
Well, that's the thing. If you picked up the newest Final Fantasy, I think you'd be just on the same like level as everyone else who just picked it up. Because the story does not continue unless. For Final Fantasy, you have one that's like a Roman numeral, and then a dash, and then a 2. That means it's part 2 of that other game. So 10, and 10 part 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, they need to just like make that better. I think
so. Maybe they should just like do actual like titles for it.
Yeah, because I mean, to me, Mario is the longest franchise I can think of.
Oh, I guess that's true. Yeah, but like you could just pick up Mario anywhere.
Right? We're not on like Mario 35. Like that would
that'd be really
everyone
weird.
would be really uncomfortable trying to play Mario 35 without playing Mario 1 and stuff.
I'm like, am I a real fan of Mario if I only played Mario 35 and not Mario 2?
Yeah, like so I mean that's been helpful with there's like a story and stuff in the series. I mean, I think Zelda is also I feel like a game that's pretty generally inviting to people, even if you haven't like played. I think you can just kind of jump into a Zelda game. In my opinion, I don't think you need to have played anything else. No. Like my first Zelda game was Windwaker, which I also did not beat.
We need to go back and beat all these games.
The unfinished games collection, but yeah, I mean, I didn't finish Windwaker. I'm working on Majora's Mask, which I still haven't finished. But I don't count as unfinished because it's still in my DS case. So
it's right there.
It's like in rotation. So I haven't picked it up since like the summertime. But yeah, so I don't know. I don't know what about Zelda makes it so that I don't feel the need to ask where I need to start. Maybe it's because I randomly picked it up. I think there's something really interesting about like randomly picking up a game and just like jumping in and not really thinking about like the logistics of it.
I've only done that a couple times.
Yeah.
It's a hard thing to do. It's like, I don't know.
Yeah, especially with a series game.
Right.
Of feeling like, wait, should I like have played something else? You know what else is, quick introduction, another series that I think definitely you don't need to play in order, Grand Theft Auto. The first, I think 2, maybe 3, I think just 2 Grand Theft Auto games were extremely different. They were not open world. They were like side scrollers. And they were really weird.
Really?
And
then, side scrollers?
Yeah, or something like super weird like that. I never played them. I never even knew this because it's like so old in gaming history for like based on my age, But I remember when they came out with, and once again, I don't remember if I'm getting the numbers right, so like people don't freak out if they watch this and they're like, it's 3 or whatever. But when they finally made it open world, it was like in one of these gaming magazines, and my brother told me that like he looked at it and was like, wow, this is gonna like totally revolutionize everything. It's gonna be huge. This game's gonna be huge. And he's like, and in the magazine, whoever was talking about it was like, oh yeah, like this seems like cool, but like whatever. And then he's like, you don't understand. Like he's like, you know how many people like are gonna be so into this? And then of course, God knows when I was blown up. And then I think GTA 5 is like one of the top selling games of all time and all that stuff. But yeah, that's definitely a series where I don't think you need to play all. You definitely don't need to play all of them because the first and second are so different. I guess whenever there's
It's always the first and second one that's different.
Whenever there's a genre, like a genre shift, I think those are really interesting in series too because they kind of just like they're like you working with the same building blocks, but they like take it in a whole other direction. Where you're like, wow, these games are not even like they're part of the same narrative in some sense, but they're not even like the same. They're not even identifiable in some way. Yeah,
that's weird. Yeah, I don't know. I think I don't know. Well, I guess this is a little off topic because it's a movie, but it's related to something else I'm talking about. But I'm hoping I don't forget about it when I talk about this movie. It's Ghostbusters 2. Mm-hmm. It's called Ghostbusters 2. But I watched it the other day for the first time, and as far as I can tell, it occurs in a universe where Ghostbusters 1 never happened.
Oh, that's weird.
So I'm like, well, why is it called Ghostbusters 2? Because 1 never happened.
Yeah, it should be Ghostbusters 0.
Ghostbusters. So it's not even like a prequel. It's just like an alternate universe where Ghostbusters 1 never happened.
Oh.
So people still don't believe in ghosts. You know, people are still like, what? What's a Ghostbuster?
So it's Ghostbusters alt.
It's just Ghostbusters alt. It's like Ghostbusters, a new story. Like that's like I don't know what.
Oh, it's B-sides. Ghostbusters B-sides.
Yeah, that's what it should be. Yeah, and it was just Ghostbusters 2. So I was like really confused. Like I feel like when you have like numbers in a series like that, there's expectations. Mm-hmm. There's extra expectations on top of what you might have for like a title. So if it was Ghostbusters and then Ghostbusters, colon something, like Women Kick Ass or something like that, it's like whatever, sure. Like this is a new thing, and I can accept that this is like not continuous. But when it's like labeled like that, I kind of want it to be continuous, and I think. I mean, even for like Final Fantasy, I can see what you mean by like it's kind of polarizing. I think since I was familiar with the series like being sort of different every time, like that doesn't bug me so much. But like when it's a new thing you haven't experienced and it's numbered like that, I do think it gives you expectations as a gamer that you're going to be playing, from beginning to end, and that the end is inclusive of all the games, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
This is what I like about Dragon Age. Actually, maybe it's what I don't like about Dragon Age. I think it was Dragon Age. It's Dragon Age Origins, Dragon Age 2, and Dragon Age Inquisition. It's like, what are you doing? Why is one of them 2 and the other ones aren't numbered? And do they actually do need to go in order? Like,
yeah.
What are you doing? Yeah, I don't understand. It's so upsetting to me. Anyway, I don't know, I'm just upset now. I'm just thinking about this. I just been thinking about wanting to finish Dragon Age Inquisition with all the choices I made in the first 2. That's where my brain's at right now.
Yeah.
Like, what happened with the Dark Ritual? Where's Morgan? Yeah, sorry.
I guess closing thoughts for game series and sequences. I don't know. I guess so. I don't want to like ask another question because I know we're kind of running low on time. But like, part of me wonders like, should we not be asking like other people these questions? Should we just go for whatever and just like throw caution to the wind? Is it bad to like be so like premeditated? Maybe it's a separate discussion. It's probably a separate video. But I don't know. Now part of me is like I wonder. Like just earlier today, my brother picked up Captain Toad off our shelf and he hasn't played it yet, and neither have I because it basically just looks like Toad Fez, and I didn't like Fez. But I do like Toad, so I'll probably just play it because it's on my shelf. But he like read the back of the box and he's like, it's been so long since I like read the back. I forgot that they're like selling you the game on the back of the box. They're telling you what's in there. He's like, it's been so long since I picked it up and like looked at. It's like when I was a kid, it wasn't a selling point, but I would like pick up a game and look at the back of the box and read it and be like, yeah, okay, this confirmed my purchase, and then go and get the game. So I don't know. I guess sometimes in a semi-cynical way, I think like, have we gotten too like serious about our gaming in like a way that's like not, like, with this whole like thinking of like, oh, what order and let me ask some people, let me research it on the internet for like, I don't know. I don't know. I'm just wondering if that's the way to go. But I guess my final, that's kind of opened another can of worms. My final, I guess, comment on
like
series, yeah, because we have these swivelly chairs. But for me, I don't think it's too bad to ask other people. I guess like you have a resource, might as well. Can save you some like time and money, and then also there's the risk of like if you start too early in a series that gets good later and you hate that first game, you might be like, forget this.
Yeah.
So I think to answer my own question, I think it's fine, but sometimes I do wonder if I'm being too like perfectionist in my gaming and maybe limiting myself to some experiences that I would have if I wasn't so like neurotic about it.
Right. That's the only thing I care about, really.
Being neurotic?
Yes. This is the truest thing anyone's said all day. No, but the only thing I care about when it comes to order, like in research and getting advice from other people, is like, fine, play whatever order you want, except for if it's going to ruin the game for you. Like if you can't enjoy the game if you play it in the wrong order, then please get some advice. Like that's where I think I draw the line. So like you know, for you, I think I even mentioned when you started Fallout, and I was like, play Fallout 3, but if you don't like Fallout 3, don't give up on Fallout. Like, play Fallout 4 still, you know, but then there might be someone else who might say, if you're going to play, you know, if you're going to play Mass Effect or something, I do have a strong opinion on this. Don't start on Mass Effect 3. It's not going to be fun. You're not going to have any fun at all if you play Mass Effect 3 before you play Mass Effect 1 and 2. If you play all 3 of them, great experience, you know. But then to that end, just because you mentioned this earlier, I think if you have Dragon Age Inquisition, and you feel like, you know, devil may care, play what I want, you know, you can play Dragon Age Inquisition. That's totally fine. You don't need to get extra advice. Just play it. That's fine. It's going to be okay. But some things, it won't be okay. Some things will never be okay if you play them in the wrong order. So that's where I'm at. That's it. It's over.
All right. Well, that got like a little scary, but all right, guys. Well, thanks for tuning in. Make sure to subscribe to our channel, give this video a thumbs up, and then in the comments let us know what series you feel really strongly about in terms of not playing it in order or definitely playing in order, and what your reasonings are for that. And we'll see you next week.